I never thought I'd be sitting here, sharing my darkest secret. My hands are trembling as I type these words. But maybe someone out there needs to hear this story. Maybe someone needs to know they're not alone in their struggles. I'm Sarah Mitchell, and this is my confession. 15 years of marriage ended with a simple text message. I'm not coming home tonight. Or ever. I'm sorry. That's how my husband, Richard, chose to end things. No discussion, no closure, just 12 words that shattered my world. I later found out he'd been seeing his 28-year-old assistant for months. The irony wasn't lost on me, I was the one who hired her. The first few weeks after he left, I functioned on autopilot. Wake up, go to work, come home, stare at the walls. The silence in our house was deafening. Every room held memories that now felt poisoned. The kitchen where we used to cook Sunday brunches together. The living room where we'd watch movies on rainy evenings. Even our bedroom, especially our bedroom, became a museum of broken promises. I stopped sleeping there, moving to the guest room instead. But the worst part wasn't losing Richard. It was losing myself. The woman I saw in the mirror became a stranger. Hollow eyes, forced smiles, and a constant question, what did I do wrong? That's when Ethan stepped in. My beautiful, caring son. He was supposed to take that job in Seattle after graduation. A fantastic opportunity at a top tech firm. Instead, he stayed. Mom needs me, he told them. I should have insisted he go, pushed him toward his dreams. But I was selfish. I needed him. He became my anchor in the storm. Ethan handled everything I couldn't face. He dealt with Richard's lawyers. He helped sort through the divorce papers. He even managed the whispers and stares at family gatherings. I've got you, Mom, he'd say, squeezing my hand. Those words became my lifeline. At first, our routine seemed normal enough. He'd come home from his local IT job, and we'd have dinner together. We'd talk about our days, watch TV, just being there for each other. Sometimes, he'd catch me crying in the kitchen. He'd hold me, stroke my hair, tell me everything would be okay. I should have noticed when those hugs started lasting longer. Should have felt the shift when his touch began to linger. But I was too broken, too desperate for comfort. Too blind to see the dangerous path we were heading down. The first time I noticed something was different was on a Friday night. We were watching some romantic comedy on Netflix. I was curled up on the couch, and Ethan sat beside me. Closer than usual. His arm draped around my shoulders, fingers absently playing with my hair. It felt different. My heart started racing, and I told myself it was nothing. Just a mother and son watching TV together. But deep down, I knew. I knew something had shifted. I started paying more attention to how I looked when he was around. Fixing my hair, wearing makeup at home. Choosing outfits that made me feel pretty. I told myself it was part of my healing process. That I was just trying to feel good about myself again. But the truth was, I was dressing up for him. The realization hit me one evening as I was getting ready for dinner. Just another casual meal at home with my son. Yet there I was, applying lipstick, spritzing perfume. I caught my reflection in the mirror and froze. What was I doing? But I didn't stop. I couldn't stop. The way his eyes would light up when he saw me. The small compliments he'd give. "You look beautiful, Mom. That color suits you. Your hair looks nice like that." Each word felt like a drop of poison and honey combined. Wrong, but so sweet. The turning point came after a particularly rough day. I'd run into Richard and his new girlfriend at the grocery store. She was everything I wasn't: young, vibrant, carefree. They looked so happy together. I barely made it home before breaking down. Ethan found me on the kitchen floor, sobbing. He didn't say anything at first. Just sat down beside me and pulled me into his arms. I buried my face in his chest, breathing in his scent. He smelled like comfort, like safety, like home. "You deserve so much better," he whispered. His fingers traced patterns on my back. "Any man would be lucky to have you." I looked up at him through tear-stained eyes. That's when it happened. I still don't know who moved first. Maybe we both did. But suddenly, his lips were on mine. Soft, hesitant at first. Then deeper, more urgent. It lasted only seconds before reality crashed in. I jerked away, horrified. "I'm sorry," I stammered, scrambling to my feet. "I'm so sorry." I locked myself in my room that night. Sat in the shower until the water ran cold. Trying to wash away what had happened. Trying to wash away how it made me feel. Because the worst part wasn't the kiss itself. It was that I wanted more. The next morning, we pretended nothing had happened. Ate breakfast in awkward silence. Avoided eye contact. But the air between us had changed. Charged with something dangerous and electric. We tried to maintain normalcy. Continued our dinners together. Watched our shows. But everything felt different now. Every accidental touch sparked like static. Every shared glance held hidden meanings. We were playing with fire. And we both knew it. Weeks passed in this strange dance. Getting closer, pulling away. Fighting the gravity between us. Until one night, we stopped fighting. It was raining outside. Thunder rolling across the sky. We were on the couch again. Some movie playing that neither of us was watching. His hand found mine in the darkness. I should have pulled away. Should have stopped it right there. But I didn't. I couldn't. When he kissed me this time, I kissed him back. Let myself fall into the wrongness of it all. His hands in my hair. Why fingers gripping his shirt? Everything I knew was wrong felt so right. That night crossed a line we could never uncross. Changed everything forever. The guilt came later, in the quiet hours of morning. Lying awake, listening to his steady breathing beside me. What kind of mother was I? What kind of person had I become? But even as the shame threatened to drown me, I couldn't bring myself to regret it. And that scared me more than anything. We fell into a routine of stolen moments. Secret touches when no one was watching. Kisses that tasted of guilt and desire. I told myself it was temporary. That we would stop before it went too far. But we were already past that point. Each day, the line between mother and lover blurred more. until I couldn't remember where one ended and the other began. I started living for our moments together, counting the hours until he came home, cherishing every touch, every kiss, every whispered word in the dark. I knew it was wrong, knew we were playing a dangerous game, but I was addicted to the way he made me feel. Wanted, desired, alive. During the day, I was the perfect mother, smiling at neighbors, chatting with colleagues, living my carefully constructed lie. But at night, in his arms, I was someone else entirely. Someone I didn't recognize. Someone I both loved and hated. The guilt never really went away. It just became background noise, a constant hum beneath everything else. I learned to live with it, like learning to live with chronic pain. You don't get better. You just get used to hurting. I started having nightmares. Dreams where everyone found out. Where they pointed and whispered. Called me monster, predator, sick. I'd wake up gasping, reaching for him in the darkness. And he'd hold me, tell me everything would be okay. But we both knew it wouldn't. Couldn't. Not really. We were living in a bubble. A beautiful, terrible bubble. And sooner or later, it would have to burst. I just didn't expect it to happen the way it did. Didn't expect her. Ashley Cooper. The name that would change everything. But that's another part of the story. A part that still makes my heart ache to tell. Because sometimes the things that save us are the same things that destroy us. And sometimes love, even the wrong kind of love, leaves scars that never really heal. I first heard about Ashley over dinner. Ethan mentioned her casually, between bites of pasta. I met someone at work today. For simple words that felt like bullets. He described her with such enthusiasm. Her smile, her laugh, her kindness. I sat there, fork frozen halfway to my mouth, trying to breathe through the sudden panic. She's a nurse at the hospital next to our office. We're going for coffee tomorrow. I forced a smile, played the supportive mother. That's wonderful, honey. But inside, I was screaming. The next few weeks were torture. Watching him text her, Smee. Lou at his phone. Coming home late from their dates. Each time he mentioned her name, I felt sick. Ashley this, Ashley that. She was all he could talk about. And I had to sit there and pretend to be happy. Pretend my world wasn't falling apart. The first time she came to our house, I wanted to hate her. God, how I wanted to hate her. But Ashley was perfect. Sweet, intelligent, genuinely kind. She brought homemade cookies. Called me Mrs. Mitchell with such respect. Tried to include me in their conversations. She was everything a mother should want for her son. And that made it so much worse. Our private moments became fewer. His kisses more hesitant. His touches tinged with guilt. I could feel him pulling away. Some nights, I'd lie awake, listening to him talk to her on the phone. His laughter floating down the hallway. The same laugh that used to be mine. I started drinking more than I should. Wine with dinner became wine after dinner. Then wine before dinner. Anything to numb the pain. The jealousy was eating me alive. Every time they sat together on our couch, her head on his shoulder, where mine used to rest, his arm around her waist, where it used to hold me, I'd excuse myself to the bathroom, turn on the faucet to mask my sobs. One night, after they left for a movie, I went into his room, sat on his bed, breathing in his scent, found a picture of them on his nightstand. They looked so happy, so normal, so right together. I threw the frame across the room, watched it shatter against the wall, then spent an hour cleaning up the mess, crying over broken glass and broken dreams. The guilt started changing shape. No longer just about what we'd done, but about how I felt now. What kind of mother resents her son's happiness? What kind of monster had I become? I tried to talk to him about us. Late one night when Ashley was away. We need to discuss what happened. He wouldn't meet my eyes. It was a mistake, he said quietly. We were both lonely. It shouldn't have happened. Each word like a knife in my heart. Because I knew he was right. But it didn't make it hurt any less. I started seeing a therapist secretly. Drove 2 towns over to avoid being recognized. Couldn't tell her everything, of course. But talked about loss, about addiction, about letting go of things that hurt us. She said I was making progress. I didn't tell her about the nights when I'd stand outside his door, hand raised to knock, wanting just one more moment, one more touch, one more anything. Ashley started staying over sometimes. Those nights were the hardest. Hearing their muffled laughter, their whispered conversations. I'd turn up my TV to drown it out. Pop another sleeping pill. Pray for morning to come quickly. The day he told me they were moving in together, I smiled and hugged them both. Told them how happy I was. Then locked myself in my room. And fell apart completely. It felt like losing him twice. First as a lover. Now as a son. They found an apartment across town. Close enough to visit often. Far enough to break my heart. I helped them move in. Arranged furniture. Hung curtains. Played the perfect mother. All while dying inside. The day they left, the house felt emptier than ever. Bigger. Colder. More silent than when Richard left. I walked through each room, touching walls, door frames. Places where memories lived. Both the beautiful and the terrible ones. That night, I drank an entire bottle of wine. Sat in his old room. Looking at the walls that held our secrets. Wondering if they'd judge me. If they'd whisper my sins to the next owners. Ashley called me Mom for the first time. At their housewarming party. It should have felt wrong. Instead, it felt like punishment. Like karma coming full circle. Watching her live the life I'd imagined. Being the woman I couldn't be. Loving him the way he deserved to be loved. The right way. the normal way. The way I should have loved him all along. I started dating again. Met men my own age. Went to dinner parties. Tried to build a new life. But every touch felt wrong. Every kiss a pale comparison. Every man a shadow of what I'd lost. What I never should have had. Ethan and I settled into a new normal. Sunday dinners at their place. Holiday gatherings. Birthday celebrations. We became experts at pretending. At acting like nothing had ever happened. Like we hadn't crossed lines that could never be uncrossed. But sometimes our eyes would meet. Across a crowded room. Over a family dinner. And for just a moment, I'd see it there. The memory. The pain. The lingering what-ifs. Then Ashley would laugh. Or touch his arm. And the moment would pass. Like it never existed. I learned to live with the ache. The constant, dull throb of loss. Not just of him. But of who I used to be. The mother I should have been. The woman I could have become. If I hadn't let myself fall. If I hadn't crossed that line. Some nights, I still dream about it. About those stolen moments. Those forbidden touches. Those whispered words in the dark. But now when I wake up, instead of reaching for him, I reach for my phone. Call my therapist. Start another day. Try to be better. Try to forgive myself. Try to let go. Because that's all I can do now. Try to move forward. One day at a time. Even if every step feels like walking on broken glass. Even if every breath tastes like regret. Even if every memory feels like a wound that won't heal. I keep moving. Keep breathing. Keep living. Because that's what mothers do. Even the broken ones. Even the ones who made mistakes. Even the ones who loved too much. In all the wrong ways. Last week, Ethan called with their news. Ashley is pregnant. I'm going to be a grandmother. The words felt like acid in my mouth. But I squealed with joy into the phone. Told T. Him how happy I was. How blessed we all were. Hung up and vomited in the bathroom. They want me to help plan the baby shower. Pick out nursery colors. Share my motherhood wisdom. The irony isn't lost on me. Me, giving parenting advice. When I failed so spectacularly at it myself. Ashley's belly grows rounder each week. She glows with that special light. That only expectant mothers have. Ethan can't keep his hands off her bump. His eyes shine with pride and love. The pure, clean kind of love. The kind we never had. The kind we shouldn't have had. I buy tiny clothes and blankets. Rock a display crib at the store. Imagine a fresh start. A chance to do things right this time. Maybe this baby is my redemption. My chance to love purely again. To be the mother and grandmother I should be. Instead of the woman I became. Last night, I dreamed of holding the baby. In my arms, it turned to glass. Shattered when I touched it. Cut my hands to ribbons. I woke up screaming. covered in cold sweat, wondering if I'll ever be worthy of this second chance. Ashley asks me for pregnancy tips, how to deal with morning sickness, what foods to avoid, when the kicks should start. I answer with mechanical precision. Remember when I carried Ethan? How innocent everything was then. How uncomplicated. They've picked names already. Sarah if it's a girl. After me. The gesture brings tears to my eyes. For all the wrong reasons. I've started seeing my therapist twice a week. Working through my feelings. About becoming a grandmother. About watching them build their family. She says I'm making progress. Says my guilt is a sign of healing. Of understanding the wrongness. Of wanting to be better. I've stopped drinking entirely. Started going to support groups. Not for the alcohol, but for the other addiction. The one I can never name. They don't know my specific story, but they understand addiction. The need, the craving, the shame. The daily struggle to stay clean. Yesterday, Ethan asked me to move closer. To their neighborhood. To be near the baby. Part of me wants to run farther away. But I'm tired of running. Tired of hiding. Tired of letting my past poison my future. So I said yes. Started looking at houses. Small ones, with gardens. Places where new memories can grow. Clean ones. Untainted by what came before. Ashley wants to do a mother-daughter day. Shopping for maternity clothes. Having lunch. Getting to know each other better. I agreed because I should. Because it's what normal mothers do. Because maybe if I pretend long enough, it will become real. The baby kicks when I touch Ashley's belly. A strong, healthy movement. Full of life and possibility. And something inside me shifts. Like tectonic plates realigning. Creating new landscapes. Where old mountains once stood. I find myself talking to the baby. When no one else is around. Promising to be better. To love cleaner. To protect them from darkness. Especially my own. Ethan catches me sometimes. Watching them together. Probably thinks I'm being sentimental. A mother missing her son. He doesn't see the guilt. The regret. The endless loop of memories. That play behind my eyes. But something's changing. In the way I watch them now. The jealousy is fading. Like an old photograph left in the sun. Replaced by something else. Something that feels almost like peace. Almost like acceptance. Almost like healing. I've started writing letters. To my unborn grandchild. Things I want them to know. About love, about life. About mistakes and forgiveness. About how sometimes the hardest person to forgive is yourself. I won't ever send these letters. But writing them helps. Helps me understand. Helps me let go. Helps me become someone new. Someone worthy of this second chance. The nursery is painted soft green. Gender neutral, they said. I helped them choose the color, watched them paint together, laughing, getting paint in their hair, looking so young, so in love, so right. And for the first time, I didn't feel like an intruder, didn't feel the old ache, just felt grateful. Grateful they're happy, grateful they're healthy, grateful for this new life coming, this fresh start for all of us. The baby is due in spring, a time of new beginnings, of fresh growth, of second chances. I've already picked out my grandmother name. They'll call me Nana. A new identity, a clean slate. Maybe that's what I needed all along. Not to forget, but to become someone new. Someone who carries the past, not as a burden, but as a lesson. A reminder of how far I've come, how far I still have to go. The darkness isn't gone completely. It may never be. But now there's light too, breaking through the cracks, showing me a way forward, a path to redemption. Through this new life, this innocent soul, who knows nothing of our past, who offers us all a future, clean and bright and full of hope. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's everything. And